Welcome to the Rotary Times Show, a public service program presented by Rotary District 7610. On our programs, we talk with Rotarians and community leaders and discuss how Rotary International builds partnerships to support local, national, and world communities. I am your host, Rotarian Dr. Deborah Jackson from the Rotary Club of McLean, Virginia. The success of a Rotary Club is dependent on the club president. They lead, inspire, motivate, and connect their clubs with communities and others locally and around the world. Joining me remotely is Rotarian Stephen Hundley, who is the president of the Rotary Club of Tappahannock, Virginia, for the 23-24 Rotary year. Welcome, President Stephen, to the Rotary Times Show.
Welcome, glad to be here.
Oh, we're glad to hear you. We hear you all doing a whole lot of great stuff down there in Tappahannock, and we want the others, clubs around the district and elsewhere outside, to be able to learn about some of the things that you're doing. We generally start off by having our audience get to know our guests. And in this case, I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about your background, maybe briefly, life before Rotary.
Sure. I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, went to high school there, went to Randolph-Macon after that. And shortly thereafter, I worked in a psychiatric hospital for a while. And then I got a call to the ministry. So then I got a master's and a doctorate at Wesley Theological Seminary in Washington, D.C. at American University. And I served churches as pastor and served in our conference offices here in Virginia, but also I had a stint in Southern California.
Okay.
And managed to serve. And then I decided to retire to a small town. And small town Tappahannock is.
It certainly is, but it's a beautiful town. So we're glad you came back on the East Coast and settled there. And also, let me thank you for your service to the ministry, because you have a special place for many. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
How did you get involved with Rotary, and specifically, why the Rotary Club of Tappahannock?
Well, I'll tell you the quick, brief story. I served a church in downtown Hampton and had several members who were members of that club. And I was a guest several times when I was there. And then I ended up in Winchester and joined the club there. It's a large club. And that was in the mid-90s. And then I really didn't have time to continue because of the busyness of my schedule. And I always said, when I retire, I need to find a Rotary Club and join in retirement. I thought I'd have a good time with it. And I joined here when I retired.
Okay.
And that brought me to the Rotary experience. The other part is that just about everybody in my wife's family have been Rotarians and presidents of their Rotary clubs at some point. So they did give me the great nod and the affirmation and said, good for you, it's about time. And so that's what I've done. Yeah,
well, you're a great model for them and the family and those around you. Tell us a little bit about your club, its size, the diversity of the membership, where do you meet?
Yeah, we meet on Thursday evenings at a local restaurant. We have a tradition of meeting at 6 o'clock to socialize. At 6:30, we kind of ring the bell and say the Pledge of Allegiance and have a prayer and recognize folks for birthdays and things like that, and do announcements and enjoy ourselves, have some dinner and have a speaker every Thursday evening at Roma's Restaurant here in Tappahannock at 6 p.m. with a program at 6:30. The club is a club of about 40. We are a little less than that right now. We've got at least 2 people ready to join. They will join in the new Rotary year. We kind of do that to give them a chance to start fresh. So they will become members in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, wonderful. Sounds like, I guess we have a lot of transitionings around the district as, clubs close out this year and open up the new year. So glad to see you're still growing. So that's always a plus. Let's talk now about your club service, some of those functions. How do you ensure that, you mentioned that you have a speaker. Do you have a speaker committee? How do you ensure that those functions are, moving forward appropriately?
Well, actually, our oldest member has done club service for a long time, and he, in the last few years, he has not performed that function, not because he wasn't willing, it was that it just kind of fell away and fell to the president or to the executive committee. We typically have speakers who are those to whom we have given grants. We also have made a concerted effort to try to have the folks who are serving in public office or serving in elected office or appointed office. We'd like to have those who serve, since Tappahannock has its own town government. It's within Essex County. So we have kind of two government entities that we draw from. And we have the folks who are professional staff and folks who are elected staff or appointed staff. We often have them come speak. Partly, we want all of these people to know the Rotary story and keep it in their mind just as much as we understand what our community is about.
Yes, absolutely.
That's been very helpful.
Yes. Do you have a bulletin or a website that you all maintain as well?
Yes, we do. We have a website that's easy to find, and we try to keep the information on there. We have a Rotarian who makes his living doing cyber work, and he takes care of that for us. And our new president coming up is retired from that kind of industry. So the website's gotten better and better as the days go on.
That's right. That's great. Well, there's so many tools out here now that anyone that doesn't have a website, you can, get some of these tools that they're using that will create one for you. So,
sure. And they do. They use the district tools and try to use the training that's available for the Rotary district leadership. And they've done that quite well.
Gotcha. Rotarian Stephen, how has your club changed since the pandemic? We hear how clubs have either changed their way of existing or have grown or maybe not grown. How did it impact your club?
It was a difficult time, I think, just like it was for many. We kept trying to have Zoom club meetings and tried to do as much online as we could, even including speakers. The only kind of carve out that was really good in the process was we managed to have speakers who are from out of town, because since it was a Zoom meeting, we had people, even my son who works in Texas, he kind of did a meeting. We've had several folks from really all around the world who ended up managing to be speakers. So we learned different things. So if there was a silver lining, that might have been it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But the other, it was enough to keep the club at least together.
Right. And that was important. And I think many of us have learned, from that, especially with Zoom. It truly has been a tool that has helped us to engage with other people well beyond where our clubs exist. Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting for us because of our history, and our club had its 75th anniversary last year. So it's an old club. And we had come off of the pandemic and trying to reacclimate and re-energize the club. And we had a big celebration, which kind of put us back into in-person meeting. And, oh yeah, the club is still vital. And we honored all of the former presidents who are still with us. And it was a good move, I think, on the part of the leadership to have a big celebration, because it was sort of we can breathe now that the pandemic is lessened, and we can come together and have our meeting.
Absolutely. Community service. Some of your community service programs. Tell us about some of them. I know you have a few.
Yeah, we enjoy supporting the Ledwith Lewis Free Clinic that's in downtown Tappahannock. Actually, the executive director is one of our members. I am on that board, The interesting thing about a community the size of Tappahannock, a couple thousand people, most of us in Rotary, if we don't know just about everybody who's involved in business and leadership in the community, we do know somebody who does. And the Free Clinic has a few board members who are Rotarians. So we support Free Clinic. Free Clinic just had a 5K, and we were Rotarians were on the route cheering people on corners and helping register people. So we do that kind of volunteer work as well. We also help out at the schools as much as we can. When back to school time comes, one of the practices we've had in the past is on the first day of school, we gather at the entrance to the schools with principals and assistant principals and cheer the kids on and welcome them. We consider ourselves a partner in education here for our Essex County school system. So we're active doing that sort of thing. And many of us are active in, several of the other areas of our community. We are active in churches. We are active in the community give, the historic downtown Main Street, which has farmers market and celebrations and keeps us kind of connected in a social way.
Right.
All of those things are part Rotary volunteers for each and every one.
Wonderful. I like to hear about that farmers market. Is that open on Saturdays or?
Yes, it's the third Saturday. We have it in April through typically November.
I gotcha.
They're getting a little sketchy about the November date. It gets a little chilly, but it's a big event. It closes down the old part of downtown and have a lot of vendors, and it's fun. It's a good
It's good fun and good vegetables. I love fresh vegetables.
Oh yes. Well, we got vegetables, and people have cheeses and have the range-fed meats, just all kinds of really healthy kinds of food, and then crafts. Lots of crafts.
Wonderful.
Are there.
Well, I'll have to share that information to all of us up here in Northern Virginia. We love that.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Good. We're going to take a short break and be right back and talk more with President Stephen. Please stay with us.
Possibilities are all around us. We see potential in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action in communities all around the world. Together, we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved at Rotary.org.
Welcome back to the Rotary Times. We're here talking with Rotarian Stephen Hundley. He's the president of the Rotary Club of Tappahannock, Virginia for the 23-24 Rotary year. Oh my goodness, it's just been wonderful listening to the various things that you all are doing and within your community and within the club. It's not a very, very large club, but you're a mighty club in terms of what you are accomplishing. So that's great. Let's talk now about some of your programming that you have. You've talked about some. Is there anything new that you've done or would like to do during your presidency? I know you're headed out of the presidency, but is there anything else that you would like to accomplish or you've already accomplished and you're very happy and proud of it?
One of the things that happened here in Tappahannock a year or so ago is we had a devastating fire downtown in our historic district. It really hit us hard, and I certainly would say a great appreciation to the Rotary clubs around, because many of those clubs helped us help our community by giving us really donations to try to help the businesses and the persons who were put out of their homes at that time. Between that and the pandemic, trying to come back and trying to do something new was a little bit difficult, but reestablishing the things that we had been doing. We always have a large pork feast for the community where we fundraise. We are way overcharged for the food, but everybody knows that the money goes to help the community. And we just had what used to be called the Croker Tournament, we call it a big fish tournament now. And we have boats go out and give prizes. And we've managed to put those back together. And it wasn't really starting from scratch, but it seemed like it, trying to get those things to come back. And this made it so we could have the funds available so we could still be generous to the community and help the groups we had been helping.
Absolutely. How about an international focus? Is your club involved in any international programs?
Yes, one of the things that we have done is our international person on our committee has always made us mindful. This year we paid particular attention to Palestine. We had, prior actually to the war, we had been committed to granting some funds for the physicians, for medical care, for the folks in Palestine, that they would have trained physicians. This latest grant that we gave this year was just for food for Gaza in the midst of their war. That's been our focus. We've done several other things in the past, and are certainly not opposed to the boxes that we did. And but this year it's been Palestine.
Great. Well, there is that need, and I would support you there. What about other projects? What's been the ones that you have been personally involved that you find the most personal satisfaction?
I guess it's the social animal in me and the community-minded person that I am and have become. When the pork feast happens, it really, we do serve some really good food, but it's, everybody knows it's not about the food. And we see a sense of community where a cross section of people come from the whole community, and you see people interacting that we don't always get to see naturally. And it brings a broader community together. And appreciate that so much. And same thing is true when we can help with the 5K for what we call the Beehive Walk for the free clinic. And the same thing is true for Big Fish. It's just that sense of having people that usually do not interact have an opportunity because of programming of Rotary and its commitment to the community to have them work together and be together. It's a joy to me.
Yeah. Wonderful. How does your family support you in Rotary? Because as club president, you're very busy.
Yes, I am. My wife is such a busy and active person as well. We both are. And I get asked to do a little bit of work here and there for my denomination still. So we are busy people. But I do remember, as I said a little while ago, my father-in-law was president of Vienna Rotary. That's a large Rotary club years back. He's 92, still tries to go to Rotary every time. And every time I think about, oh gosh, can I keep going? Can I keep doing this? I think of my 92-year-old father-in-law who continues to go to Vienna for Rotary every week. It's just inspirational. And so they've been very supportive and would expect me to be as good to Rotary as Rotary has always been good to them and to our family.
Well, that takes me to service above self. As you talked about your father, and him being the model, what does service above self mean to you?
We have a culture that is so wrapped up in itself, and so much of what I've called at times the meism. I get concerned, but Rotary gives you a chance to say, it really is about a community, small though it be, like a Rotary Club of ours, serving the larger community and getting a sense of attachment to one another, that we're in this together. The pandemic certainly should have taught us that. These events teach us that. The fire we had in the community taught us that. And prior to me being here, there was a tornado that happened here several years ago. And that's why we started our own local charity and Rotary Foundation here to try to assist and to try to help those families who were suffered terribly from the tornado. And so we often do it. All of the people, just about all the people that come to our Rotary Club, they've got lots to do, and they can be busy. They work hard, and they are all busy. But I've always thought if you really wanted to get something done and done well, you ask the busy people because
They get it
they know how
done.
to do it and how to do it well and quickly.
Yeah. Or do you all have a Interact Club or a youth part of your club?
We are working because of our partnership with the schools. We have worked with the schools to try to bring that to bear. It hadn't borne fruit yet, but I believe it will.
Mm-hmm.
I think it will come. We've been trying to do some of the other support system kinds of things for the school system, but haven't had an opportunity to formalize that relationship to young people. We did assist last year another club that was struggling. We let them be a satellite for us, with us last year, that kept them alive and got them rechartered. And we did that just last summer. They got rechartered, and we were real proud of being able to do that for that club.
And let's follow up on that, because I think that is amazing to hear. Many clubs are struggling with growth. We know Rotary International, that's one of their mandates that they're looking very closely at. And you just described something that I think a lot of other clubs should hear about. How did that work? You said you all sponsored a satellite. How does that work?
Well, it's something I have to learn, and a few of us in the club have to learn. We have a few of our members who've been Rotarians for 40, 50 years. They seem to have some idea about what it was, but the club was weak, and we realized that if we would find one or two of us who would commit to going to their club, it's not that far away, and meeting with their club when their club would meet on a regular basis, they might strengthen enough. And with our oversight and our sense of attachment, because that's what you do is sort of the main club, you can keep the bones together, if you will, and then the bones can be put back together in a sense so that the club could reactivate, which they did in sort of record time. It was a good move, and a few of our members made that commitment to make that happen. I'm proud of them. They were good friends, and it was service above self indeed.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's amazing. That's an amazing story to share as clubs who are considering, how do I grow? How do I grow my membership? You've just highlighted an avenue that they can certainly consider. So thank you for sharing that. When you get new members in, because it sounds like you got a handle on this new member thing, how do you onboard your new members?
I wish we had a more formal process. We really don't. But we try to be sure that the sponsoring member pays really good attention to them. I remember when I joined the Winchester Club in the 90s, the person who sponsored me made sure he came and picked me up and drove me to Rotary lots of the days. He was retired at that time, and he made sure he came by my office. If I wasn't showing up one week when he didn't drive me, he made sure I did. Well, we're trying to be sure that there's a sense of sponsorship and connection so that we don't lose track. We don't want to lose track of these people.
Absolutely. And we want them returning.
And one of the other things we're doing, we're trying to do now, is to try to have some younger folks and trying to pay particular attention to younger folks in their schedules, not beat up on them for not coming all the time, but making sure that they know we want them to engage to the extent that they can and to become more involved in the future, but certainly learn Rotary, learn its DNA, figure out who we are. So when we need their leadership, that they can grow into it.
Are you finding that you are seeing a lot of young people come? Because you're an evening club meeting, so that may be a little easier than my club is actually a luncheon club, which is a little more difficult sometimes. Do you find that you being in the evening has lent itself to your bringing in more young people?
I think so. And then the other key is that, of course, in our situation, these are young people who are volunteering in other organizations, several of which I've mentioned. They are active, but they go to work really all across the Northern Neck, and here Tappahannock, the gateway to the Northern Neck. That's what we call it. And these are people who would have to come a pretty far distance to do a lunch and go back to work. That doesn't work real well.
Yeah.
So the evening club is a better one. The only struggle is those who have families and need to get home. It makes it a little more difficult.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you, Rotarian Stephen, for sharing the Tappahannock Rotary Club with us today. And you will consider coming back at a later date and even share even more about what you all are doing there.
I will, as long as you double my pay, Deborah.
Okay, let's talk about that. We'll work on it. All righty. For the Rotary Times program, I'm your host, Rotarian Dr. Deborah Jackson from the Rotary Club of McLean, Virginia. You're welcome to join us at a Rotary Club in your area, either for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or a service project. You can find a club near you by looking us up on the internet. Many clubs are hosting meetings in person, virtually, or in some hybrid format. You only need to look us up for details. Remember, our time is your time, and it's always time well spent. Please join us for our next program as we continue to celebrate Rotary's 117 years of service above self. Funding for this program is made possible by the generosity of Rotarian Lynn Heinrichs, State Farm Agency, McLean, Virginia.